Azure Sentinel Threat Hunting Quick Start. What is threat hunting? Threat hunting is the process of searching through a variety of data with the objective to identify threats within the system. Threat hunting involves creating a hypothesis about the attacker's behavior and researching the hypotheses and techniques that were used to determine the artifacts that were left behind. Now we have the three-tier approach. At the bottom we have automation, investigation, and remediation of well-known threats. This is done automatically within Azure. They have loads of templates to help us do this and loads of queries and things to make our life easy. Then we have high-speed remediation where the default alert path is set up. This is where most of our SOC analysts spend their time identifying manually, running and investigating these threats. Of course, you'll also spend time in tier 2 where you can do a bit of a deeper analysis and remediation, and these are on special cases. And then of course you have the proactive hunting and advanced analytics. These are done by the advanced team, and they really look at the advanced threats, like where did that malware originate from, how did it get into the system, and they really do a deep dive into that particular incident. Then we have our tiers. So let's break this down quickly. Our tier 3, they're responsible for performing proactive hunting and advanced forensics. The goal of this team is to perform analysis to identify anomalies that may indicate advanced attackers, and only unprecedented findings or deviations from the norm are escalated to tier 3 teams. The tier 1 and tier 2 teams is where most analysts work, and most incidences are remediated at these levels. So again, Sentinel has a series of predefined threat hunting queries that can help you identify suspicious activities within your organization and better troubleshoot that incident. Now, some terms to know. You'll hear the term privilege escalation, and these are techniques leveraged by the attacker to gain high-level privileges on a system, such as a local admin or root admin on a Linux or Apple Mac OS. We have initial access. These are techniques used by the attacker to gain a foothold into the network, which includes techniques such as spear target phishing and exploiting vulnerabilities or bad configuration or weaknesses on the public-facing systems. Then we have execution. These are techniques that result in the attacker running their code on a target system. For example, an attacker may run a PowerShell script to download additional attacker tools that can and will be used to scan your network and for weaknesses on other systems so that they can gain a foothold into those as well. Then we have defense evasion. These are techniques used by the attackers to avoid detection. Evasion techniques include hiding malicious code within trusted processes and folders, encrypting or obfuscating adversary code, or disabling security software. And this is where Sentinel comes into place. It's very, very powerful. Sentinel looks at all of these things and can identify if something has changed. So again, they have some great evasion techniques built directly into Sentinel. And if you explore Sentinel, you'll realize just how powerful this SEM tool is. Then you'll have exfiltration. These are techniques used to move data from the compromised network to a system or network fully under the attacker's control. So just some terms that you need to be aware of. So we're going to go ahead and do a basic lab where we're going to go and do a threat hunt. We're going to create some queries. We're going to go into Active Directory, we're going to create a user account, we're going to delete it, we're going to see what that query brings, and then we're going to turn that query into an incident so that that can further be troubleshooted by our SOC team. So I look forward to seeing you in the lab. Hi, and welcome to this lab, Azure Sentinel Threat Hunting, and we're going to do a 10,000-foot overview of how to do a basic threat hunt and then turn that hunt into an incident so that we can kind of troubleshoot our environment. So as you can see, I'm in my Sentinel Blade. I'm going to click on Hunting. I'm going to go ahead and create a new hunt. Again, we can do a whole lot of queries from templates. We've got live streaming, we've got bookmarks, and of course we've got hunts previews, which is going to be pretty cool when it comes out. But in our case, we're just going to click New Hunt at the top. I'm going to give my hunt a name. I'm going to call it Entra ID. I'm going to select myself as the owner from Active Directory, and I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm going to go ahead and click Create, and this is going to go ahead and create our hunt for us. You can see our hunt appears here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the hunt itself. We now need to create a query or some queries for our hunt so that at least we can monitor our Entra ID. So I'm going to go ahead and click under Query Actions from the drop down and say New Query. I'm going to just paste the name in for my new query. I'm just going to call it Entra ID audit log. I'm going to leave the description as it is. Now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to type in audit. I'm going to select audit logs. Where is, I'm going to select operational name, and I'm just going to call this one add user. And I'm going to go ahead and under the techniques, it's really important with the tactics, we want to make sure we select the right technique. As you can see, there's a lot of techniques available, but I know with Active Directory and Writer we want everything to be persistent, so I'm going to click on the persistent tactic, and I'm going to scroll all the way down until I've found cloud accounts, because we want to monitor cloud accounts on Entra. Obviously you can monitor domain accounts, local accounts, and default accounts, but we're just going to select with cloud accounts for now. I'm going to go ahead and click create. This is going to go away. It's going to do that validation for us, and it's gone ahead and it's created that query for us. But we want to go ahead and we want to create a second query, because we want this second query to tell us if somebody's actually deleted our users. So let's go ahead and click query actions and click new query. Again, we're going to call this one deleted user, and then I'm going to click in here. It's the same thing, audit logs. So let's get rid of this. Sorry, it keeps on moving over. So I'm going to select audit logs. I'm going to say where is. I'm going to say again the operational name. Same thing as we did before, but this time we're going to modify the query a little bit. And I'm going to call this delete user. And we're going to come down, and this time we're going to do defense invasion. And I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to make sure I select my cloud account from the bottom. So we come all the way down until we find our cloud account, and you can see the ID is different. And we're going to go ahead and click create. And that's going to go and create that query for us. Now you can see we've got two queries associated with our hunt. So we're going to leave that there, and we're going to just quickly bounce into Microsoft Entra, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new user, and I'll call this new user Hunting Lab, and I'll just type his name in here as well. And I'll go ahead and click review and click create, and that's going to successfully create that user. I'm going to bounce back into Active Directory. I'm just going to go ahead and hit refresh, and there's our user Hunting Lab. So I'm going to go now and delete that user. So I'm just going to hit refresh and just give it another few seconds. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on that user, and let's go ahead and delete that user. So we no longer need that user anymore. I'm going to bounce back into Microsoft Sentinel. I'm going to go back to my workspace, and I'm going to go back into hunting, and you can see there's my hunt Entra. So I'm going to go ahead and I can go ahead and click on run all queries, and that'll go ahead and run all those queries for us. So again, if I select let's just close that to get some more real estate, and we'll just select our queries and click run, and that's going to go ahead and run those queries. Again, we'll just give it a minute or two to run. It shouldn't take too long. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on my query from the fly out menu. I'm going to click view queries, and from the queries, so you can see those queries have run deleted user. I can scroll down and we can see where our deleted user is. If I click on target resources, you can see there's my Hunting Lab user that was deleted. Now, if we have someone messing with our accounts, we can go ahead and go one step further with our hunts. So I can click on my hunt query. I can say, right, I'm going to validate that. I'm going to click apply. And then again, I can make sure, either that is closed or I can leave it active. Again, you have that option to to do stuff if you wanted to. If you wanted to close it, you could click apply and close that. But I can click on the actions now and I can create an incident. And this will then add it to my rules. So I can go and see who's messing with my accounts. So again, I'm just going to go on bookmarks. I'm just going to click review and click create. And this is going to go ahead and create that hunt now and add it to my incident tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into Microsoft Sentinel, go back to my workspace, and I'm going to go to incidents. And now, very shortly, we just give it a moment or two, I should see my incident popping up there, Microsoft Entra. So now I can manage those incidents and actually do some further investigation on that. So the whole idea of this lab was just to show you how to go ahead and do a basic hunt in Sentinel, how to look at your query, and how to change that hunt into an incident so that you can further investigate it. So I hope you had fun doing this lab, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lab. Hi, as you can see in the previous lab, we created our Entra ID incident, and as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've clicked on that incident and I've clicked this flyout, and this will give me some information about that incident. Now let's say I want to assign this incident to a user. I could go ahead and I could click, it's going to be an active incident. I can click apply, and I can come down and I can go ahead and assign it to a group, or I can go ahead and assign it to any user. So I might go ahead and assign it, say, to myself, and click assign, and I can go ahead now and click view details, and I can get some details now about this incident, and I can go ahead and I can start working with this incident. Again, I can go in and get an incident overview had this incident happened, and I could go and see if we had any issues, and we can kind of go ahead and bookmark stuff. I can come down and say I want to do stuff in the last 12 hours, and that will go through and do a whole lot of bits and pieces for us. You can see I could select different workspaces if I wanted to, and of course I can navigate back to my incident. Now let's say I've resolved this incident's all good to go. I can go ahead, I can say close that incident, and I can go ahead and click in the actions here. I can also run a playbook, or I even can create an automated rule. So that incident, I can change it from active to closed, and then I could go ahead and I could say, for example, this was a false positive incident, and I could click apply, and that would go ahead and close that incident for us. I could click in the severity if I wanted to. I could change that to low and click apply, or I could just change that to informational as well. And if you notice, it's changed right over here. If I change that to informational and click apply, you'll see here it's changed it to informational. So again, that's just giving you a basic overview of how to open up your incident, assign it to somebody so that they can go ahead and work on it, and then how they would close that incident. So I'd like to thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lab.